business will be roll call.
Brian Hendricks, Patty Carroll, Brandon Butler,
Present.
Neil Rice, Mitch Dowdy, I guess he's no longer on the board, Richard Edmondson here, and Jim.
Sir. Item 3 will be approval of the agenda. All in favor? Aye. Item 4, citizen comments. Ms. Crowley, have anything for us this evening? I'll put you on the spot, sure. All right, item 5, public announcements. Any public announcements anyone would like to share? 6, approval of the minutes from the April 3rd, 2017 meeting.
It was a female voice, I was guessing.
Somebody just failed or something out there, but he, I can see the top, somebody failed.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, perfect. All in favor? Going to item 7. Park updates.
Nothing.
Is perimeter trail clear yet for walking, for rain?
I haven't been out there. I'm sure there's some trees came down today.
Have somebody drop that, you don't want to go for the trail right now, the ruts or, the water hits those ruts and you don't want to get out there.
There was an article today, I guess, about the Friends maybe put something together or raising money for the,
Yeah, the Friends are having a big payback. Wide fundraising effort for all, a lot of different nonprofits and a lot of
We're also raised for the garden, but also as it was trying to become one of the things
what happened? Tell me if you took a nosedive or?
Well, I almost did. What excitement for the night. My book got stuck in the. Yeah, somebody looked at it. False.
right with somebody that sued.
Yeah. Yeah.
any other updates? Park staff, park updates, Mr. Hall, do you have any updates on from staff?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go into old business. Item 8.1, continue to discuss and take action on park development chart. So first one to see if there's any updates on that Storybook Trail. Just in a BOC meeting about possibly the funds were there that weren't. Hearing to be completed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had a Storybook Trail meeting on April 19th, but I did not make the meeting. I don't know, were you there, Keith?
They just really discussed going with Bob Richards, getting him out here for design. He's worked with the state.
Has anybody contacted him to do that?
Yeah, I think Kathy Montgomery.
On that Storybook Trail. Item 8.1.2, update on ADA Trail Jones Classrooms. That's where I was referencing the minutes. You said
Anything from
the
Scott?
last month you said the surveying had been done, but
Yes.
the engineering is yet to be completed.
And I guess Scott's gonna assign the engineer. I don't know whether he's gonna continue with Riggs and Maloney or whether he's gonna change. He hadn't made a
And what's that on again?
Joanne's classroom.
That project project, not overall.
Just that one project, yes, sir.
Probably too busy to get to.
And covered up.
A little bit.
8.1.3, history village updates, Dr. Rice.
Okay, I went out this afternoon, and the grinder pump is in, and it appears that the water and sewer lines from the building have been connected to the main sources. However, they're not turned on yet. I noticed also that the fan that goes, that's a commode, doesn't appear to be finished yet on the inside. Beyond that part of it seems to be placed underneath the building. Probably is time to get it done now, and insulate the pipes so they're in freeze. And, let's see, we got windows to both the clinic and the outside schoolhouse that need to be done. Contracted for, but it just hasn't been done. That's it as far as I know. Perhaps might add to that, I don't know.
Yeah, Mitch will, talk to Mitch. Mitch will be out there, or getting his crew out there to hook up the grinder pump and the water heater. The water is not connected yet. It's still hanging. I'm working on that. Guy's still working on handrails, so.
That's right, there's another item. The Chamber of Commerce definitely is going to be moving in there. Glad of that.
Do you have an idea?
When it's finished,
That's what I'm asking.
of course, I don't know. Yeah, a few months ago, believe me, I took a breath and stepped back and said, hey, I can't do anything to make this happen. I can't do anything to speed it up. Somebody's gonna stop talking about it. Because otherwise I just get frustrated and sometimes I say the wrong thing. So, it's getting there, but it's taken about 3 months from when we were told was going to be there this week to get some things done. But it's in the right direction. And it is warm, so it's not gonna freeze, so,
I was somewhere with the city manager and, they were saying, I think that he didn't expect it to be done before July 1st, and he thought maybe the chambers, they would address a move-in date after the end of this year. So, but they're moving forward, we're trying to get everything done on their part. But, so I don't think, of course, here it is following May, so that's, a couple months, but was the projection.
obviously, I don't know how that would get done. And they will require telephone service, they would require, service, those sorts of things, which, and they probably would have a little TV, I don't know that, but probably would. But whatever, those are things that they will have to work out with whoever gets that done and is responsible for it.
Just a little bit before the meeting, some kind of signage or something. that's-
Oh, yes, so there needs to be a sign put up.
Any plans for any overall sign or notifies, or just saying for?
There is no sign there, no, sir. We would hope that there would be a nice sign built, and put that gets into money. Or,
Is there not a historical sign? Probably it'd be neat to have one of the historic, monument signs, just talking about the history. That would be neat. Well, like a lot of times when it's, something is deemed historical, they have signs out in front of it, just talking about, yeah. So like if you went to,
Process to
what?
get that, you have to everybody has to go through the state. First, it has to be deemed truly historical, then it goes through, it actually goes through the legislature. The legislature actually has to approve, I don't know if it's a resolution or something, but it's, to get those official Tennessee historical markers. You have one right up here.
Well, there's also county markers, there's also,
See, I don't know if that's a state marker or a
organization
city
markers.
marker, yeah.
We have a marker, costs $2,000, actually a bit more than that is put between the, Gigo post office and the school. And it really should stay there. When people are touring the building, they could be on both sides. I would think it would be better to have a sign, out front that directs it, or mentions that this is an historical village. Let's not officially call it history building. That is something that has never been, quote, approved. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. I was always hoping it would be called the Village of Jingo, or just plain Jingo. But anyway, about that. But yes, we do need a sign. It needs to also indicate that the Chamber of Commerce is there. If the Chamber of Commerce is also going to serve as a welcome center, then that needs to be indicated. That can all be put on a sign. Do you remember, I know, Patty, there were lots of long-winded discussions, various suggestions, and then ultimately, concerning the city signs, and then ultimately it ended up being 2 stone blanks with something in between. I think there were, 3 of them? 196 and 2 100. That costing, because of all the initial planning, and it was paid for and overpaid, and yeah, I thought, yeah. But whether it's something like that, whether it's stone mason or something else.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been that much, but, yeah.
Go to this really stacked lot.
It's
They're not
spectacular.
like where they, don't. Aren't they just stacked lots too?
About 70 pounds apiece.
Well, Keith, you might be able to tell us how much this,
I don't. I could give you a number, but it probably is wrong.
Yeah. But anyway, we need a sign, and what have you.
One thing is, if we catch on a clause that it didn't introduce, Andrew Perry with Lawson Associates here tonight doing this. And one thing we talked about was the landscape plan or landscaping around there. I don't know if you guys already have a plan for that history village or a thought or an idea.
No, I'll go ahead and pass these around, and I can kind of talk while you guys are looking them over. There you go. A few months ago, Mr. Hall and I drove around and looked at 3 different properties around the city: the Heritage or History Park, the Veterans Park, and then the City Hall landscape here. And we talked about there had been some conversations about possibly doing some design work for those different areas. And so we put together this proposal about what it might take to get through a very preliminary schematic design to kind of get some community input and see how that manifested itself in kind of, a physical design. For the Heritage Park, we talked about doing potentially a farmer's market. That evidently that had been discussed. Some signage and wayfinding components, which we're just talking about, and what else might kind of go into that area, and how, not necessarily it would all be done at once, but how those things would kind of phase in. So this was in the middle of us doing the roadscapes projects, and I don't know if the environment's changed much, but these were our thoughts at the time on each one of these, how it would take or what it would go into kind of getting those preliminary concepts together. So in each one, we're kind of expecting a city meeting on the front side to invite, people that are interested in the project to kind of collect their thoughts. We'd kind of pull those together and come up with some sort of schematic design that we could post or present to the public in some way, and then take comments back from that and prepare what we call a final schematic. And, the end result would be some sort of board that we could use to generate support or interest around the city, kind of let people know what we were up to. And then from there, if we wanted to, take each one of these projects a little bit more in depth and take them through a full design development and construction documents and all the way through if that was, something that you guys wanted to do. So these were just, like I said, some original thoughts.
Do you do any work at all with trees?
We do, yes, sir. And, working with the roadscapes, we've got to know Mike Berkeley very well, and would definitely, contact him specifically about what his thoughts were on the redbuds, the natives, to go around City Hall here.
Veterans Park
Mhm.
project, are you envisioning a sensible walking trail totally around the lake?
We talked about a few different ideas. I'm envisioning, I had a couple of thoughts when we were there on the site about how you might enter into it, and then, the trail that would go around. I don't know if that would be all the way, if the funding would be there. We want to discuss all those things in a more thorough, focused.
Would that be what you would have the meeting about?
Right.
Under the task?
Right. Yeah, the first thing we want to do is kind of collect the people that are interested with the project and see what their thoughts are. Because if we can get that support together, like-minded people, then, maybe we can get some help with moving the project all the way through.
Well, in our meeting on Saturday, our workshop, it was brought up, this, and at some point it was brought up, the tree board, actually already took the funds up to the Board of Commissioners, and it was approved to do the plan, but there was discussion on, like the tree board felt like maybe it was their project too, so whatever we did, I think we'd have to put the park and tree board, because they really were the initiative, the original ones to,
And we
bring
invited
it,
them out tonight,
and we did good.
and Mr. Berkeley was,
Okay.
but it is something. Meeting. Perhaps, or if we do kind of like this to show them where we have a task meeting where we specifically
Yeah.
speak, hopefully we can capture the tree.
And it sounds like you have it broken down. If we did decide, okay, our focus right now is Veterans Park, then
Right.
that's kind of what you would,
Well, and I said, we prepared this a while back, so if the environment's changing, there's one that we want to focus on more than the other, and we can revise our proposal, and we can have more meetings if we need to, we can include that in here, but I wanted to kind of give you a basic start on where we would be from a design standpoint on that. And if we want to take the process all the way through on veterans to construction drawings, we can do that too, if that's something that we want to go forward with. But I just, give me the direction, I'll be happy to put that proposal together for you all.
Sir, are you suggesting for the price up here, you would do the things that are written in the blue ink?
Yes, sir.
Is that how to interpret this page?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but this does not but that price does not include the price of plants and trees and shrubs
this is
and.
the plan.
This is what I would call a schematic. The way our process is, or the way we design, we do a schematic concept. We'll come up with what it would look like from a bird's eye. All the things how they're going to be laid out horizontally, how the routing of the trail is going to go around the lake. We might have some sketches loosely of what signage and things are going to look like. And then we would take into design development. Design development, we would pick out materials, figure out exactly what the sizes of each of these things are, and compare that to a feasibility cost estimate or a budget, and then dial things in or expand things based on, where the city's budget is. And then after that's complete, we would go into construction documents where we would prepare the drawings and bid specifications so that it actually be, a competitive bid for the contractors to provide numbers for you. And, after that, we can go into, construction observation if need be. Or, that being the expanded piece-by-piece system, if there's an abridged version of that that we need to do, we can work with the city to do that as well.
The drawing up of the construction documents, that's not covered under this?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
How the tree board would be involved in this. I don't have a problem with that, I don't know what I'm trying to understand. I've walked it numerous times. These trees, they had it or removed.
The tree bank fund is what would be supporting. The fund is where the money is collected to pay for these things, and that's, they brought up the motion to bring to the board. Kind of been, similar people sit on those boards, and so it's kind of.
And I'm trying to make sense of this. Why
Yeah.
do we pull funds from the tree thing?
Well,
I would thought this just comes from the, y'all approve it, it comes from general fund.
what it is people have to pay into the tree bank, so new construction for, like Walmart was probably one of our biggest. So there is a fund now sitting there, and it's only supposed to be used to replant and replace. That's how they are involved, and they kind of oversee any of the commercial buildings or new residential developments also, that they make sure that they're using the proper trees and the preferred tree list, and so they're it's kind of a hand-in-hand thing. A, it's their money, and B, eventually the plan would have to go in front of them to approve, making sure we use the proper.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand, if we're not doing anything with trees, because I instantly, my head's going, okay, this just got more complicated, which means it takes longer to get involved. Maybe not, I don't know, but if no trees are added or removed, why do we need to?
Well, this is a landscaping plan that he's gonna present.
Brian, actually, there's other things that the tree bank funds can be used for, as long as it's public property. It can be, like the roadscapes belong to the state, but that was public property.
So if we're
So-
forced to use tree bank funds, then we're forced to include the tree committee?
Pretty much so.
The more money.
And help me out,
Yeah.
I'm just new, and this doesn't,
Yeah.
it kind of
The more
sounds like
facts, the
red
better,
tape.
the more ideas. I think
Yeah.
if they just got involved because they said, hey, we see an opportunity to spend our tree funds on something good, let's try and do that. And so we just kind of jointly created this, and now their funds in, so they're gonna have some input. And I think the overall vision would be, you know, if you have your monument sign with flags and stuff in front, and have some landscaping around it and things. And so it's just kind of something that I think everybody wants to see and envision. And if we do take this route, we would have a meeting, and not necessarily a park board meeting, just an open meeting for everyone to attend that has any input towards any of these projects. And so then the tree board could attend, citizen could attend, park board could attend.
Yeah, I understand that, I just,
How much
seems
approximately is there at the tree bank?
That's, I'll address that. As of the budget this past week, it was 50,250 in there, but we're expecting our final reimbursement on the roadscapes project. It was over 36,000, so we're going to be back up in the 80,000 range.
80,000.
So, and then we do have two developments coming later that we've already got a 10,050 and a 24,050 that's going to contribute to the tree bank fund. These are commercial developments that will contribute to it. So that was the holdup, because we were wanting to getting the roadscapes project completed before we were allowing this to go forward, because we were going to use those funds to finance this. Now, one thing, Brian, you might not understand, there's no taxpayer dollars involved in this. This is all contributed by
well,
developers.
I'm just thinking of the
Yeah,
process.
right.
How things work, or should work, or I don't know, just.
Understand.
When, once this is done, like, you know, we got the go-ahead approval from the board that we can get this plan. But even once it's done, the board still has to do final, because it would be their dollars. So this would even still, we're presenting things back to the board, but we have to kind of have a plan and know
Oh,
the
I
costs,
understand
you
what
know,
that is.
the.
Well, and it's gonna help get buy-in for this committee if the other committee's involved, so that they don't feel like they've
Well,
been
the
left
other
out.
tree committee's supposed to be involved, there's supposed to be one person from the tree committee. That's in the minutes.
It is.
That's the chairman.
But to me,
That's-
just because he's on here, I mean, representing the tree board.
Right.
And I just feel like anytime there's landscaping going on here, whether it's Publix or where it is, the tree board usually, I'm not saying they always see it, they approve those plans. So if we're gonna do anything, if they're gonna put any bushes in out there, the tree board would be a problem.
Okay, well, help me understand this then, because I'm thinking of the tree board like our board. Our board does nothing unless they refer something to us. We don't do it, so are you saying now then the tree board has something different where they're supposed to go do stuff?
Well, they are allowed to make, like, they're allowed to make recommendations to the planning commission, the design and landscaping for, any development.
But that's
So-
all we do, we just make recommendations.
Yes.
So-
But they would have to, for any plants, flowers, whatever, they would have been included, anyway.
Okay, see, that's what I don't.
And-
So if you're just putting in a little garden, you gotta go through the tree committee.
Just,
Not
I don't know
unless-
that a little garden would,
Unless it's public property.
which
If
this
it,
is,
this is public property, the Veterans Park is.
Right.
But then you got your flag stands, which you want decorated up around with shrubs and that type of thing.
Well, I mean.
The fences can be
Depends
paid,
on the spot you pick.
yeah, the fences, we've determined that it can be part of the landscape and they can pay for fencing. So there's several things that can go there that the tree bank funds can pay for, you know, so.
And so financially, from the city standpoint, are these approved funds that we could, bring to the board and say, we're ready to take action
Right.
on these if you guys approve? And it sounds like you guys might have talked about this recently.
well, and we were trying to decide what the dollar amount was. I'm thinking it was 20,000. Is that?
I'd have to go back to
enough
minutes, but I believe that was for engineering for History Village.
Let me have it
Yeah,
right.
I believe that was, you know,
That's, I tend to be a little bit more upfront with where things are at. When we put something on, that's what I intend to do. And if it doesn't take me that long, I don't try to go into it. If it's something that's not on the list that we need to do, then we come back and talk about it again. But I mean, I try to be as straightforward as I can about what the process is. I do work with residential clients sometimes, and I found that's the only way to make sure that everybody stays on the same page. So to use that same logic, try to do the same thing when it comes to a city or a commercial project as well.
And one big question to ask is, we have 3 objectives here. Should we single one out and say, this is our most important, and we want to just get 3 plans and not follow through on any of them? We want to be able to we want to see this one to completion. So that way, when we get this worked up and we get a budget or a quote, it's not 3 years down the road and we're saying all the numbers have adjusted. Are we fully ready to prepare to say, if we do this, I think there was a quote in the 2014 for the ADA trail, this is ADA all around, I don't know if that's, $7,000 in 2013.
that around Lake Van.
Yes, sir.
Went up.
Yeah.
The longer we
Yeah.
didn't do it, the price just went up.
And that's what if we say we're gonna spend the money, are we gonna fully, it's an investment to hopefully continue it forward?
Yeah, only 2 of these 3 really fall under the us as parks, so, but I would assume the decision on which one that priority is gonna be forward, VOC, right? Not us. Yes,
Absolutely, I think that would be the idea, that we would go there and say, we feel that this is our highest priority, and we would like to try and push on this. Or, hey, we feel that maybe all 3 can be captured, and we'd
the
like to.
city hall landscape, that's not us, is it?
Let me speak to that. I would actually put a hold on that for right now. There is a possibility of the police department moving to a different location. So I don't know whether that'll transpire or not yet, but if it does, then that might create a situation there that you might want to landscape the police department rather than, you know, in the court. It's,
Well, and I thought at some point the signs, but that may not have been in the final, that like the welcome to Fairview signs were gonna have landscaping, but that was a.
I'm looking into lighting those up right now. I've got Middle Tennessee Electric, and I've got,
Well, the only one that has the bushes, I noticed coming in from 840, the one,
yeah, that's all I like.
Jingo, what do you want to call them?
Jingo
Heritage. But
So
I
I'm
noticed,
gonna call them tomorrow, believe it or not, I won't call them.
okay, well, I noticed at Jingo, there was no shrubbery or anything around the signs,
Yeah.
the welcome.
Yeah.
There is
There's a few at,
hundreds
at,
and maybe, are they at the fire?
there will,
900 and Cox.
before that would be done, I would wait until, because we're gonna have to do some trenching to put some conduit in to light them up. This is not gonna be solar lighting, this is gonna be the real thing.
Okay.
So, until that's done, I would kind of wait on, suggesting that.
Since you're talking about lighting, have you looked in any more into lighting out at the Triangle site?
That's part of the engineering that I've gotten back from Middle Tennessee Electric as far as lighting up Deer Ridge, the intersection of Deer Ridge, which will help that side. And I think the last time, Mr. Power and I was discussing back and forth about these lights, solar lights that you could put up on the front side, which wouldn't be expensive to install.
Down there,
And then,
I think you need more really motion. If somebody's up there messing
Yep.
around, you don't need lights burning. I'm an astronomer, so every time you turn a light on at 9 o'clock, I had one star lit, I can see. So I just don't know, do you need lights on out there from dusk to dawn, or do you need lights past, like if there's somebody around out there? Yeah, I like that better. The police going by and they see lights on over there, there's a reason the lights on over there, they're on all the time.
as far as those lights, Mr. Power, are they battery operated or they have to have electric?
They've got a little solar panel coming with them, and
Well, they could be hooked up, as they would mount to the building, they could be hooked up to
yeah,
electricity if you
could
need.
hook 'em up to electric and not do- I was thinking that they were gonna be.
On all time.
And
Well, that's what
different.
we talked about last month, is they were gonna be mounted on the building,
Yeah.
and they'd be solar panels
Yeah.
powered by solar
Yeah.
energy.
But
Unless that's changed.
Well, I actually
What I
like
worry
that.
about is the cost whenever you go to wire these
Yeah.
things. And sometimes you can put a solar thing up there and buy the whole thing and put it up cheaper than you can get an electrician to come out and run. That's my only thought on it.
And I would think that could be something that would be done with some of the landscaping. The lighting, yeah. So, Andrew, so basically, if we pick one of these, like, let's say we're doing the Veterans Park, so with the flagpole, I mean, you kind of have a general from Mr. Hall, what we're looking at,
Well,
to-
there are some things we talked about, and there are some things that I immediately saw when we went out there, and I started thinking about it, because there's a couple of neat projects here. So I had maybe some things already preconceived in my mind that I might like to see. But I think we want to get, community input before we really establish what that design concept is. But yeah, I mean, flagpoles, some fencing, the trail around, and some landscaping would be probably at the core of what we want to do out there. Maybe some way to recognize people from the city that have contributed or that have served, I think that might be something that
When do you envision
garner
we
some
might
support.
have this meeting?
Board, if we get on the board to discuss it, we may take action, and we would start,
Yeah, once they would
You
give
said
us a
it's already
proposal,
going to the
we would
board?
Set this meeting up.
No, I mean, it's not on this agenda. I mean, I can get them on the next agenda, but, we can also, we'll be here tomorrow night with the tree board, so we'll take this information to them and then take it to the board and set a meeting
guess they
particular
still
one
have to do
is
a budget
encouraging
amendment.
planting decorative keeping and trees and all. Triangle site also, it's certainly ready for that.
Well, and we'll have a little bit of a, push. It'd be nice when the chamber does get, but I don't know if it's gonna happen that quick enough.
Brandon,
but-
you were saying something about establishing one of these projects as a priority.
No, not necessarily, you hate to approve 3 things, get 3 plans, and then 3 years
Well, I mean, I hate to
Right.
pick veterans or
Yeah.
History Village as one priority over another, because I think they're both high priorities for this board.
Well, priority doesn't have to mean it's more important. Priority just means we're gonna do it first, so we focus on, get it done, to move on to the second one.
That's another reason why the board should maybe discuss it, to say, if your budget time's coming up, here's some ideas that, some of these long range.
Just from our walkthrough, not to overstep, but it sounds like at the History Village or Jingo, that there's some things that are already moving forward. And personally, I'd like to have a master plan whenever, as we're working on those things and implementing them slowly, so that when you're doing something that's contributing to the larger future project. I don't think that any one of these has to be something we do all of this right now. The Veterans Park, I could see that being more of a focused effort. We do much of it there. We put the monument in, we put the landscape in around it. So there might be an opportunity to do those two in conjunction with one another, so at least we have the master plan. So if there's another historic building or something that we want to move onto the site, we know where we should locate it so that it fits in the context of what we're trying to do on a grander scale.
There's another,
Has been donated, it is currently in storage. It has been put into storage in the dry while we are raising money to,
Box in place, right?
the foundation is ready, that is correct. But we have to raise some money, then we have to get into the city, get some more money, and do we get.
I have to agree with Brandon on this, and I don't know how you do this, but I think that there should be, if we're gonna spend the money, because I know in the past few years, there's been a lot of money spent to engineers, and nothing ever got done.
Amen.
And that was a lot of money out of the city budget, that probably if we hadn't done the engineering for one job, we could have had another one completed. We would take the money we spent for each year and put that money on one of these projects, we would have had enough money to finish it. So I guess if we're gonna hire an engineer and we're gonna do this, I would like to know that we're gonna follow through with it and not just hire the engineer and then decide that, well, it's too much or we're not gonna do that. Because at that time, we were spending $15,000, and at $15,000, we could have probably made a nice memorial at Veterans Park. So that was my own thing, is I would like to see a commitment from the VOC to say, we'll vote for this and we will follow through with it.
Well, it is a new board. I mean, you may want to take it back. I mean, when this was presented by the other board, the intent was for it to be pretty much paid for through,
Tree bank
the
funds.
tree bank fund, because it was the scare of, they're gonna spend all the tree bank money, so let's make it something worth it. So, I don't know that we have that fear, right now, but that was the intent of the tree board, is they had this huge list of projects that they wanted to, invest in, and these were some of them, and the first phase was getting that. The only thing we got,
have the match.
to match, because they didn't put away the funds. But we can't live in the past forever, Jim.
No,
I was really excited of our meeting and our budget, and we're setting money back, and we're going in I get what you're saying, I do, but, and I don't think it's a bad, with it being a new board, I don't think it's a bad idea to make sure they're gonna, want to support, these projects. So, I mean, it would never hurt to go and,
So we're
There's a
gonna-
design for a walkway around
VOC
Veterans Park
to
over there,
establish
River Lake.
dates for the meeting.
well, it doesn't have,
There hasn't
we
been
can
one
set,
presented.
it doesn't cost us anything to go ahead and have the meeting and get the thoughts and plans. Now, we don't want to waste your time, but we'll be coming back to you regardless. So it's not like we couldn't, go ahead and set the meeting. It won't get on this agenda Thursday nights because I would have to prove an emergency, and I don't know that, that would fall under that category. So, it would have to be the
15th.
15th to get it out. But I can present this.
Oh, wait a minute,
and-
18th, excuse me.
Okay, so,
So it sounds like, just taking this away, and we'll discuss this probably in the tree board more as well. Our focus from a park board perspective would be, we're interested in Veterans Park stuff. City Hall landscape plan is not necessarily our highest priority, and then the Heritage Park History Village priority. The Veterans Park allows us to start getting that ball rolling on what we like to see there, and start working towards our monument, our entrance, our signs, and things like that, a plan and a vision, and then the History Village allows us to start getting a plan for the landscape, start to finish up some of that project over at Triangle School.
Veterans Day is November 11th.
Yes.
So once this is discussed by the BSC, I think then the staff can help us take action towards creating that meeting and to have people come and discuss the ideas. We have a third draft master plan for that Veterans Memorial Park at Evergreen Lake that has some ideas that speak to long-term, short-term vision. Thoughts?
Well, that sounds good, but I mean, again, should we set the date for the public meeting? Or to decide tomorrow?
Is it a workshop thing we should just do?
yeah, it can be
Yeah,
a
I'd
workshop.
workshop sounds better, where everybody can just spitball.
Yeah, we call it a design charrette,
A what?
a design charrette.
I heard that one, charrette, what's that?
Charrette.
French
It's
sound.
French, is cart, people would bring their, art cart, basically, into the studio, and then everybody would kind of sit around and take things off and go and sketch and draw and go collaborate with ideas.
We had when we do our 2020 plan, we had a charrette at the high school with several different committees.
Okay?
And brought in a
So
lot
that's
of,
8.1.3. Do we want to set a meeting, a time for a meeting?
I might add, you might ought to wait till the mayor gets it on the agenda and let her advise that they're gonna move forward with a workshop at that point.
Yeah, have that discussion there, and
Yeah.
then from there we can set a meeting. Maybe,
What, the VOC set the date?
or once we approve that that is good, we can have staff set the date and set it prior to our meeting. Their meeting's the 18th. Probably want to try and give 2 or 3 weeks notice.
Well, I'm gonna
We wanna
take it
make
to
sure
the
they're gonna do
meeting,
it.
and then we'll set the date, and then we'll advertise it, we'll get citizens in.
We,
and
meaning the
Me,
board.
me,
You.
Patty Carroll. I'll take it to the meeting, I'm gonna call Brandon, and we'll set the time, and we'll get it done.
Just to make sure that the board says, yep, we agree, and then we'll set that up and get it rolling.
When a date finally is set, can you send out an
Absolutely.
email to all the members of this board?
Absolutely, and I think that it'll go on the website, it'll notify everybody, and things, so hopefully we'll get.
I just
full
want to be
knowledge out there.
notified when
Yes,
the
sir.
meeting.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So that's History Village, 8.1.3. The next one will be 8.1.4, updates and status on Veterans Park. I think we kind of incorporated that. Anybody has any additional questions? I thought tonight maybe we would have some of that discussion, but some of it will happen in an open meeting. Good. Questions on the Veterans Park? So
Yeah, I got a meeting tomorrow.
State approved or not state approved, what is that?
He's a state approved.
Can we please get a state approval?
It's land trust approved, isn't it?
He met with him before.
He has worked with the land trust before?
And so on that, the staff will meet with them and then come up with do his forestry plan, and then maybe wrap up that Blue Park master plan. Questions on that update Blue Park master plan? New business, there is no new business. Our next meeting will be Monday, June 6, 2017. We'll go into park commissioner comments. Start with Mr. Bauer.
I'm commentless tonight.
What?
Uh-uh.
Is that possible? Trying to figure this out.
That's good.
We appreciate it. There's a lot of hope. I mean, in the new budget, if it gets passed, there's 100,000, you know, in there for the park. So exciting time. So, of course, new money budgeted next year. No, now Keith may already have something in mind for that, but I'm just mentioning it. But the exciting news is there was most of Keith's things that he had on there. Nothing got pooed down, so you had several equipment pieces that just were necessary for him and the running. So I think that it was very favorable. Now, of course, this was just the open workshop, but, you know, it has to get the final approval, but everything looked really positive and excited about the budget and where we are. It's just amazing. $1 million in the reserve. We're, you know, paying the debt. We have a fund just for the debt-free payback. More about that, and we'll pay it off early, and there's just a plan, and it's exciting. So I think that I can't wait for y'all to get to see the budget, and, you know, it's just, like I said, exciting stuff. So not that, don't go with your hands out yet, but right now we're
Where do we
looking
stand with
positive.
the trail that Jones plastered? Is
We're,
that in the budget?
well, was park.
That was the park fund.
Park fund, and it's there. I mean, the park fund's still there. You know, which we still need that lovely list of all the approved items that are out of the park fund, because, you know, I'd like to know if the park fund can handle it, but,
Well, how soon do you think we're gonna be moving?
what was your report?
Engineering.
Engineering,
Yeah.
so,
Sound like the city manager might select
Yeah.
the new engineer.
If he, the thing that I pushed for when Griggs and Maloney had this Mark Clanton come in to see if he could do it. And they said he could, but then he gets busy on some other stuff, and Will's always super busy. So it was hard for me to get them pinpointed to engineer the Joanne's classroom.
you gonna volunteer for it?
We can do it.
So, and now it's in Scott's hands, it's out of mine, and hopefully he'll make a decision on whether maybe he can put a little more pressure on Griggs and Maloney than I can, or maybe Will might, now that he's part owner of Griggs and Maloney, he might push to get it done now, because he'll be one of the decision makers in that,
Well,
so.
that's a project that's been simmering on the back burner for a long
And
time.
you know how long I pushed for it.
Yeah.
You know, so, I was one of them at first that voted for the Joanne's classroom
Yeah.
to be built in the park, so I'm very much interested in seeing that get done, you know, if I have any input into it.
I just want to thank Mr. Krager for coming tonight.
Thank you very much for
I look
having me.
forward to working with you and having this workshop meeting.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
That's all I have to. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for coming out tonight, and look forward to getting some of these meetings rolling.